So good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on what it is for you. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Nick. If you're new to the channel, I go ahead and ask you to hit the subscribe button, turn on your post notifications so you can get updated when we drop new episodes, and go ahead and give me a thumbs up, comment on anything you'd like to see. And this is Two-Step Builds. So welcome back, everybody. Here we are in the garage in front of the GMC. Little recap on, in case you haven't seen on this, 1951 GMC. If you haven't seen, we've been tearing it apart. We're doing a conversion. I used to have an old 318 5.2 LA motor. It was kind of the earlier model. We're going ahead and dropping in a Magnum motor, same size, 318, newer model though. It's got, I think they call it the keg intake manifold on it. I actually really like the intake manifold. Fuel injected already. Everything's computer controlled, which will be really nice on this. We got a couple things we'll go over here. So in case you don't remember, 5.2 318 mag motor. We pulled out of a 1993, I believe it was, Dodge Dakota. So going to have the fuel injection on there. We've got quite a few parts that we've acquired for it over here. We got the throttle body over here, fuel rail sitting underneath it. I'm going to go ahead and paint those the same color. We'll talk about that one in a minute, as the firewall and the inner fenders. I've got all new, basically everything. Well, not basically, it is everything. Brand new alternator. This is a AC delete kit from Summit Racing. At some point in my life, I would love to put AC on this, but for now, we're going to go ahead and run that. Brand new water pump. This stuff, I guess, down here is the same. Harmonic balancer and the crank pulley are the same. My paint job on that was absolutely terrible. Hopefully, we'll go ahead and fix that, but if not, it probably will never be seen. New tensioner pulley. Idler pulley. Unfortunately, I did buy one, and they gave me this pulley. I was just going to go ahead and use it. This pulley is smaller than this one, so this one's getting reused for now. But if you can hear it, it is making some noise, so that bearing in that guy is probably no good. We've installed a Hughes cam in this guy along with their springs, so it should give it a nice little lop to it. Hopefully it sounds really good. We have some Summit Racing headers that we've wrapped up right there. Will be going on here, along with kind of a factory style Y pipe. It's kind of buried right now, but got a factory Y pipe with the O2 sensor. We did talk about before about that intake. I unfortunately don't know that I'm going to be able to reuse this part of it, but the hat we will be reusing, along with probably buying some new parts, finding out if we're going to drop the air intake on this side or this side. I really do want to reuse that that intake box, but I don't know if I'm going to have enough space for it. So again, going into this conversion, 5.23A Hughes cam, Alpha 518 transmission, and or 46RH. They're pretty much the same thing. Honestly, I don't know that I could even tell you what the difference is, to be very honest. I ordered a 518, and the tags on this said 46RH. They pretty much seem like exactly the same motor, mounting points, everything seems the same. We got the kit from PATC, Performance Automatic Transmission Company, I think it is, that will convert this over for the overdrive and lockup for that. So this is their little plug. I did have to buy this separately. That plugs in, and then they got a couple of solenoids that will actually mount into this bolt here. It will come off of this bolt, a couple solenoids, and so that works off hydraulic pressure to lock your torque converter and to hit your overdrive on. Got the drain tubes. I've already got AN fittings and a bunch of lines over on my wall over there that we're going to use for the cooler. It did come with a torque converter. So we got new torque converter for it. This is completely rebuilt. We got the American shifter, shifter, that is. This is the dual action, so this is going to be really cool. The actual shifter, the handle is sitting inside there, so we will be getting that, but I haven't quite lined it up inside, so I don't know exactly where it's all going to go yet. Yes, I am playing with this. Deal with it. Anyways, so that's the transmission that we're going with. Transfer case is right here. It is completely rebuilt. NP241? No, I lied. 208 is 208 Charlie is what we're working on here. So if you can see, let's see if we can, if you can see that, should be right up on top there. 208 Charlie. So that's 28 Charlie out of a Chevy. The one thing I had to do, Chevy's input shaft is a 27 spline, so I bought a 23 spline for the Dodge. Everything lined up completely great. Got it all completely rebuilt. These do have the needle bearings. Those are a pain in the butt, but we got it done. All new seals. Everything is good to go. This one's ready to go, minus, obviously, we're going to throw a nice coat of paint on it. The one problem that we did run into, in case you guys are trying to do this conversion or want to do this conversion, if you look at your transmission here, you got, for your input splines, you got this little guy here. That's your seal that seals it up against the transmission. And you got about, well, I don't know, I got about 2 fingers on there. So let's call it maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches absolutely tops, but I don't think it's quite 2 inches there. I'm going to say about 1.5 inches. On the transfer case itself, you've got this big guy that comes off the back of it. That actually will interfere with that seal on the back of the transmission. So as the input splines are going in there, this will actually contact the transfer case before the back of the transfer case hits the transmission. I hope I said that all right. If you guys don't understand what I'm saying, I don't have the time either. Anyways, so what I've done is I bought this. This is called a clocking ring. It's made for if you need to kind of rotate your transfer case down for, like, if you got quite a bit of lift, instead of actually having to drop the whole transfer case down, you can buy one of these. This bolts to the back of the transfer case here, and then these allow you to kind of clock the transfer case down to get that the front output down a little bit farther, so you don't have quite such an aggressive slant with your drive shaft. So what this is going to do for me is it actually spaces out my transfer case 3/8 of an inch, or how big these are, and then the couple of gaskets are about 1/8 of an inch apiece. And what I did, it's kind of hard to see on here, but this seal inside here has actually got all this whole space basically back here is completely opened up for that seal. So I took my grinder and I actually ground this down about 1/8 of an inch too. You can see a little bit of my grind marks on there. So I ground that down a little bit, put that down. I'm actually able to drop this on the back of the transmission now with this, and now that actually closes up the gap completely. So that'll line up absolutely awesome. But actually looking forward to this one. I've heard good things about these. I did want to originally go with the 241 because I heard they're a little bit more heavy duty. This is a complete aluminum transfer case. So this one, it's light, which is nice because the one that came out of here was a 203 and they're very, very heavy. This one, not so much. So this one maybe weighs between, we'll call it 75 and 80 pounds. So not too bad. But I do hear that they can kind of detonate themselves if you're doing a lot of hardcore off-roading. This truck will not be a hardcore off-roader. It's going to be my daily driver and, you know, maybe hunting truck, stuff like that. So it'll be really nice. But the one thing I actually had to do is I had to buy a new front, what do we call this? Output shaft housing, I think. Because as I took mine off, this whole piece on mine completely broke all the way off. So had to buy a new one of those. But we are going to go with, we got some Intellitronics gauges, so we're going to have an electronic speedo. That spins right onto the top of that, so I did retain all that original stuff there. If you guys have been following along with me, hopefully you have. If not, go back and check out the other videos. They're pretty cool as we're tearing this thing down. You notice that I have done quite a bit of work to it since the last video. I apologize. Kind of working away on this thing a little bit. I get a little carried away sometimes, forget to set up the camera. A lot of it has been kind of in the background, really just trying to get this thing to a point that hopefully we can start to get it assembled. Winter is coming. I'm up here in North Dakota, and winters come on really fast. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be painting this back firewall, the top of the inner fenders, and then some of the interior bits in a midnight blue color. So it's going to be a nice midnight blue. So right now, firewall is completely tacked in place. You can see my sweet welds there. This is what it looks like when you weld with a flux core. All I have is 110 volts. I got this little guy down here, if you can even see it. It's a little Lincoln Electric 110 volt flux core, so no gas. This is what it looks like when you do with the no gas. It's a very dirty, makes a lot of smoke, and I don't know how well you can see, but it does leave a lot of spatter all over that thing, so there's a lot of grinding. So that's definitely, the gas helps out a lot. It's been really, really good, actually. I even used it on this stuff, and this is just 22 gauge. Has been working really well. The one downside, I will say, I don't know if it's the gas. I don't know if it's because it's 110 volts and it's a higher amperage, but it really does like to burn through some of this metal. So I got to be really kind of conscious about how I'm welding, how long I stay in one spot, move around, and so on and so forth. But it has been doing a pretty good job. I won't lie about it. We are going to try and fill some of the holes on the back here. I'm going to probably have to just get some little plates to hold on the backside and weld. I have tried to weld a few of these holes. As you can see, I got a couple of them welded shut, and then the others are just burning big old holes through the side of it. Instead of just burning a bunch of holes, I'm going to just put some little plates on the backside. I'll weld them up. I can grind them down. It'll look nice and clean. These guys are too big for me to really do anything with. This one, I believe, was going to be used at some point. I'm going to be trying to put a windshield wiper nozzles on the top of this cowl up here. So I'm going to probably use this to run my reservoir. I'll run it up probably through this hole and then in. That way I've actually got windshield wiper sprayers, because this truck, obviously 51, never came with that. This one here, we're just going to get a rubber plug and plug that shut. If I ever need to use it, I can. Our wiring for our chassis is going to be coming through. You can see I've made a little mark right here. We're going to be doing a hole in that guy, running our wiring loom, you know, from the fenders across the top of the fenders. We'll run it in there inside the cab, and then the rest of it will kind of drop down, go along the, well, I guess it'd be the driver's side of the frame rail here all the way to the back. Fuel pump will be there on the driver's side, pretty much right underneath the cab. So that'll hook in there. It'll be really nice. We'll be able to get to the rear, everything back there. We have done some work to the inner fenders here. As you can see, I cut my hole, and if you guys don't remember me talking about this, I did have to cut this recess for my power steering pump. So this is the power steering pump here. As you can see, this was a junkyard find, but I completely tore this whole thing down, rebuilt the whole inside of it, all new seals, painted everything. One thing I didn't realize was how far this thing actually hangs off the motor itself. So as you can see, it is all over the front of this thing. And so I unfortunately am going to have to, you see I made a couple marks. I'm going to have to notch out a little bit more here and underneath where the actual thing is contacting this. Kind of sucks. And I had measured this, and it actually, I had mocked this in once before and it worked really good. Problem is, my motor was on almost a 6-degree slant backwards. It was way too much for me. So what did I do? Well, I took my motor mounts right here. Oh, let's go ahead and get a little light on the situation. So I took my little motor mount brackets right here, and I cut 1 inch off the top of them, dropped the whole thing down 1 inch. Awesome, got the motor right where I wanted it. Problem is, when I did that, it sucked them in and not up, obviously. So what happened is my old motor mounts, my bushings, now no longer sat in the holes anymore. They were all over, they were crooked, they just looked like crap. I didn't want to do spacers because then that puts a lot of stress just on the studs. So I went ahead and bought a few of these off of Amazon. Those are for a Toyota V6 motor, but they've kind of got like a, if you can see, they've got like a little pedestal on each side of them. Probably can't see the other one. Anyways, take my word for it. They've got like 2 feet and then 1 stud that comes up through the top. So that dropped me back up because these are about 2 inches. And so that brought me back up about a 1/2 inch lower than my original ones do. So I like where the motor's sitting now, but unfortunately it also brought the motor forward towards the front of the truck. So that's why the power steering pump no longer fits. Couple other little things that we've been working on inside. I had my wife help me put the seat in place. This is not bolted in place at all. I did cut the brackets down about 1.5 inches in the front, made new plates for the bottom. So I've marked all my holes that I need to drill through the tops of these plates so they'll bolt through the actual floor pan. So I'm gonna have to take the seat back out again, obviously, because like I mentioned before, we are gonna be painting the inside of the doors, the inside of the the inside of the door jambs we're gonna be painting, and this part of the cab back here, basically from the bottom of this guy all the way up to where it meets the headliner up there. We're going to be building a whole new headliner and coming around dash, as we've talked about, and the headliner and my little door panels that go right here are all going to be wrapped in suede. Got new armrests, new sun visors. The dash is, I guess not dash so much as the gauges. I'm having a darndest time figuring out how to run my gauges. As soon as I figure it out, I'll let you guys know, but I want to just build like a nice flat plate and then put my gauges in here. But I want them to be recessed, because one issue I always had with this truck is when the sun came through, it got all over the gauges and I couldn't see anything anymore. Well, the new ones, the Intellitronics, those ones are all digital, so I think it'll just blind them out and I won't be able to see anything. So I'm trying to recess them, and I just can't quite figure out exactly how to do that yet. I think I'm going to build it out of I was going to build it out of, I got like some metal templates that I've already built, and then I was going to just wrap it in some fleece, build them out of suede, so on and so forth. But it's just kind of kicking my butt right now. I haven't really been able to figure out exactly how I'm going to do it. We have went ahead and mocked up exactly where the brake booster is going to go. Brake booster will go here. You can see my all my little lines that I got going on there, my circles. I got the top 2 drilled out, so I got 4 more to drill, and then 1 big hole right in the middle that we're going to do. We did build a gas pedal stand. I really like the way it turned out. You can see my sweet old welds and all my booger welds, so I'm gonna have to grind down. This is what happens when you weld with a MIG welder and you forget to turn the gas on. Good job, Nick. Anyways, but I think it's going to work out really well. It'll sit right in there like this, all the way up against the side, right where the top of that, right along there. So it sits in there like this. Gas pedal sits on there, and then the brake pedal will sit right next to it, and the steering column will come straight through, kind of through where these burn marks are, where the old stuff. That's my line right there, and then the steering column is going to come straight through there, up to the bottom of this guy, and then hang out. Looks really good. Mocked it all up already. It's going to look good. We still got to figure out exactly where our shifter is going to come through. Now that I've moved everything back this way with the engine, I'm thinking it's going to be, well, right about lined up. I think it'll be back this way a little bit of our transmission. That's where the transmission shift lever is going to be. So I think shifter will be right in about this area. So as you can see, we put quite a bit of work into the truck already. A lot of behind the scenes. I don't want to bore you guys with a whole lot of behind the scenes, but I did want to get this one out for you. So you could at least have a little update of kind of what's been going on here. I say it all the time, and I do apologize. If you're new to my channel, I've been very inconsistent about how I've been getting these videos out. I'm going to get better about 1 a week. That is at least my goal, is 1 a week. I'd like to get 2. I'd like to get to the point where I can do 3. You know, even if it's just little things like this update video, I'm going to get more out for you guys. I enjoy this stuff. I hope you guys enjoy this stuff. I'm a little spastic, so I hope you guys get at least a laugh out of me, if nothing else. But we'll continue working away on this guy. If you're new to the channel, again, you probably saw it in the background. I do have a Skyline 93 GTST. No, it's not a GTR. I didn't want the RB26 and all its flaws and 666 throttle bodies, and there goes the neighbor. Bye, neighbor. Bye. Anyways, long story short, didn't want all the issues. Of course, I wanted a GTR. Everyone wants the GTR. I didn't want to pay double than what I paid for this guy. I got some nice drag wheels on there. This guy does need quite a bit of work. I got the gas level actually down to about the point now where I'm going to be able to drop that tank. Notorious, these things get disgusting inside of the tank. So I'm drop the tank, pour 15, clean it up. I got a new fuel pump. We're going to do new fuel filter. Hopefully that cleans it up a little bit, because it does like to kind of cough and sputter as it goes. But temperature here is supposed to drop down pretty drastically, because I don't have working air conditioning on this thing right now. Everything's in there, but I just haven't gone to the effect of getting it charged up and everything. I want to yank the cooling system out, clean the whole cooling system up and everything too. But yeah, it's kind of a fun car. We're going to do some videos on this one coming up here pretty soon. If you can go back and you can see, we actually did a whole install of the sound system in this guy recently. Reused the stock. Those guys, we put a Sony? I think it's a Sony. No, Pioneer. Pioneer unit here. Phone actually attaches to this, and then it's got a cool app that attaches to all of it. We did put some, if you can see them back here a little bit. Yeah, they're kind of hard to see there, aren't they? Yeah, there you go. You can kind of see them a little bit now. Got some 6.5s with tweeters, and we got the amp in the trunk. If you guys want to see a lot more of that, go back, check out the videos. They're a couple of the first ones that I put out here. So next couple things we're going to be doing on this guy. I really want to get this, basically everything prepped up, ready for paint, because as soon as it gets too cold, I'm not going to be able to paint my garage anymore. And I think within the next 2 weeks, I'm getting to that perfect temperature where I'm going to be able to paint. It's not supposed to be so humid. You can see me all gross and disgusting right now. But got to drill a couple of holes. Obviously, you see I got a couple of spots over here. All right, as you can see, we got over here, we're gonna be putting the battery tray over here. So I got some holes to drill over here. I got my couple of holes I got to drill for the actual wiring harness for the engine is going to be going through over here. For the ECU, that will be sitting on the inside of the firewall on this side, and then over on this side over here, the chassis is going to be sitting, chassis, good God. Over on this side, oh, I'm an idiot. Over on this side, the chassis harness will be going through. So that was going to be going through on that side, and then the fuse box itself is going to be sitting on the inside of the cab too, on this side of the firewall. On the inside as well, we got a brand new, who is it that makes that? I forget. I bought it from Classic Industries. I'll show you when we break it out, but it's the new heat box that's going to be going in there. It's got new defrost ducts and everything. It's actually a really cool unit. I'm excited to actually have, hopefully, a good working heater, because the last one did not. Along with those doors, didn't line up before real well. We got them lined up really well now. We got all new trim, all new seals. Hopefully we get this cab sealed up good, and we can actually keep some heat in there, because the last year I was driving it to work and it was like, I don't know, I'm up here in North Dakota, so it was 0 or -10, and I could just feel the wind just blowing in on the sides of me, and it's freezing cold. So hopefully this can be a daily driver now, so I'm really hoping that it's sealed up good. Yeah, anyways. I drill all the holes in the firewall. We got a seam seal still, so we're going to seam seal everything around the outside. I got one more little panel that I got to do down in here. You can kind of see a little bit of what I've done right now with this side plate right here. So I got one up underneath, just one tiny little panel that I got to build just to make sure that that cab is sealed up good. We'll go ahead and get that welded up, and then as soon as we do that, we can go ahead and get the whole interior seam sealed. We're gonna spray some primer down. We'll sand everything. I do got some ripples along the top of the firewall right here and inside. We're gonna throw some body filler, sand that all down, just make sure everything looks nice and smooth, and then we're gonna go ahead. We'll primer one more time, probably throw probably 2 or 3 coats, a base coat, that midnight blue. It's gonna look really cool, and then I got a metallic clear that I'm gonna put down. So hopefully looks really good afterwards. I know it's just the inside of the firewall or the inside of the engine bay, but you know, a little bit goes a long way. It's going to be nice. Everything else, top of the hood, underneath, it's all going to be body coated or rubber coated, whatever they call that stuff. So should be really nice. So with everything being said, I hope you guys stick around. Tomorrow is going to be a lot cooler. Be able to actually start doing some work. We'll start drilling holes in this firewall tomorrow. Start grinding some stuff down. Probably take care of that one last little panel that we got. And then I'm going to have to mess around with that inner fender over there. Start chopping that one up again. I really didn't want to do that, but I'm going to chop it up a little bit, make space for that power steering pump. So in the next video, we'll probably go ahead and pull that motor back out of there, put it back on the stand. It's pretty much ready to go. There's really not much left to do to it, minus the throttle body, which I don't want to put on until it's in there anyways, because I don't want to smash it with the lift there. Power steering pump has to go on, and then fluids and stuff like that. We got a couple more things in the mail. Gas tank is in. If you guys have been following along, put the gas tank in. We got the all the line is just kind of laying on the ground, because before we start doing everything, I want to roll this thing out of the garage, give everything a nice clean coat, so when that undercoating goes down, it's a nice clean, and I don't have anything falling off while I'm driving down the highway or anything crazy. I hope you guys are looking forward to this thing being done on the road as much as I am. It's going to be really fun. I actually got a little surprise. I guess it's not like a huge surprise, but I'm actually excited about it. That should be here in a couple of days. So when that comes in, I'll show you guys what I'm going to do. Little, we'll call it off-ball. I don't know how a lot of you guys might react to it, but you know, it was, we'll call it easy, and I'm actually looking really forward to it. I think it's going to be really cool. So as always, remember, if you guys' hands ain't dirty, you ain't bleeding. Wait, I'll tell you what, if you guys' hands ain't dirty, you ain't bleeding, grab yourself a beverage. You guys had any of these? Not sponsored, but coffee beer, how do you go wrong? Thanks for sticking around.